Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 23rd annual celebration of National Family Caregiver Month. My name is Paulina Milana, the USC Family Caregiver Support Center's Community Engagement and Program Specialist. I'll be your host today. Each year during the month of November, we offer our family caregivers a conference called C.A.L.M, C-A-L-M, which stands for Caregivers Are Learning More. And this year's special suite of events is all about the power of the pause. I'm going to have our center's director, Dr. Donna Benton, share more on that. Dr. Donna Benton is the director of the Family Caregiver Support Center at the USC School of Gerontology. She has 30 plus years of experience in direct service, advocacy, and developing programs for families caring for people with dementia and other brain impairing conditions. Dr. Benton was appointed to the California Master Plan for Aging and the California Commission on Aging. Her research focus is on the development of online, evidence based interventions for family caregivers to improve their mental and physical health and well being, and for the prevention of elder mistreatment. Thank you for kicking us off today, Dr. Benton.
Thank you, Paulina, for that wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to be here with all of you and watching and listening to CALM, which stands for Caregivers Are Learning More. And believe it or not, this is our 23rd year. And of course, we always do this during November, which is National Family Caregiver Support Month. And every year, we like to offer a variety of events and celebrations that we know will be educational, thought provoking, and, fun for family caregivers. And we like to focus on a particular theme that we think will resonate with you. So this year's CALM conference is about the power of the pause. We all need to take a breather and give ourselves permission to slow down and practice our self care. And so that's what we mean about being able to take a pause. Now, we know that with all that you do, and we really appreciate what you do every day, and it's hard to think, can I take a little time to myself? And you know what? Even if it's taking a deep breath a couple of times a day and having a way to just recenter yourself, give yourself a little bit of relaxation. It's important to take a pause and let things slow down for a little bit of time. So, we also are kicking this program off today, which is called Putting Burnout on the Back Burner. And, it's just one of the events that we have planned for this month. You can find more about all of the events that we have planned for November on our website, which is Los Angeles CRC, all one word, .usc.edu. And then you go to our events tab and you'll see all of the programs we have planned. And this year, for our in person on November 4th, we'd love for you to drive up and come and get a gift from us as an appreciation of all that you've done all year. So look for that November 4th drive up celebration. And you might have, and so you can register that on what you'll see below, the Los Angeles crc.usc.edu. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our support groups, all of the help that we offer, and also how to reach us on our website, because you don't have to be alone in your journey. We're really here for you. So, you don't want to hear from me anymore, so let's get back to why you're here, which is our presentation for today. Thank you for coming, and I'll turn it back over to Paulina. Thank you.
Thank you for that great overview, Dr. Benton. And as you said, we all know why those watching us now, or those who will be watching us during the replay, have chosen to carve out the next 90 minutes or so from their day. It's to learn more about the power of pause. With all we caregivers do, it's hard to imagine taking any time for ourselves. But in the following presentation, entitled Putting Burnout on the Back Burner, Helping Caregivers Care for Themselves, you'll hear from our partners at Independence at Home and from licensed therapist and mental health specialist Tani Go on how it is not only possible, but doing so can actually position you better in how you take care of someone else and in how you take care of yourself. Immediately following the presentation, stay put because we then follow up with a one on one chat between one of our family consultants and one of our family caregivers. You'll sort of be eavesdropping on their conversation as they discuss the presentation a bit further. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's presentation is about putting burnout on the back burner, helping caregivers to take care of themselves. So, thank you for joining us, and hopefully, this will be helping you to understand some of the definitions, some of the symptoms, some of the causes, and then also look at what are some things that I can take away. Next slide, please. So, here are three major points that we're going to be talking about. And first is, what is caregiver burnout? Identifying what it is and how do I know that I have a caregiver burnout? What are some experiences? So hearing from other people also gives us some examples of what those caregivers are like. And then secondly, how to navigate different conversations when asking for help. And this is a big issue as I provide counseling to most of my clients or caregivers that they have a difficult time asking for help. And that's also some issues that we see. And as we look at some future slides, we're going to find out why is it so difficult and how do we go about asking for help in a way that is not so negative. And then thirdly, the importance of self-care in reducing stress. Next slide. And hopefully these are some of the things that you can take away after the presentation. It is that, does it mean to put that caregiver burnout in the back burner? And what are some steps you can achieve to put that back burner not in the back burner but in the forefront, and then actually learn to manage this burnout. And then also the power of pause. What does it mean to take that pause? And that also includes having good coping skills, learning different tools, and learning and having those, expanding the coping skills that you might already have. That helps to manage your stress, but also recognize, oh my gosh, if I'm stressed and I need to just step away, not for hours, because that's impossible. You know that. But even just for 5 minutes away, maybe in the bathroom, closing your bedroom door, or just going outside. Those are some very powerful pauses that we can learn to use and utilize. And then when asking for help, what are some healthy communication techniques that we can take away and learn that doesn't end up in arguments or, being defensive or being reactive? So those are some of the things that hopefully you'll be able to learn. Next slide. So I want you to think about this question. 1 in 4 caregivers report that their family relationships have suffered as a result of caregiving responsibilities. Is it true or false? Just thinking about from your own experience. Caregivers suffer because of the responsibilities, but what else it suffers in their relationships? What would you guys say?
I would actually say true for sure. I know in my own situation, even family members with whom I was really close would say things like, "Oh, you're just being a martyr," and which hurts, and then you kind of just don't ask anymore. So yes, I would definitely say true.
Yes.
I would say true as well. I'm surprised it wouldn't be more than that, to be honest with you.
Yes,
I think
yes, you're
I
right.
think too that oh, sorry, I think some of the stress can be compounded by things that caregivers experience, often like lack of sleep, lack of self-care. I think that can really heighten the emotions
Yeah,
and make people I've seen like feel really irritable. So I would imagine that's true that there's a lot of strain and stress that comes with caregivers, especially for
yes.
family caregivers.
Absolutely. I agree with all of those comments. Is that not only one, but I think maybe four out of four all suffer at some point throughout their caregiving, day-to-day responsibilities. But the word suffer is an understatement. It's very overwhelming. It's really real every single day, and so it's part of your life that you just have to put away, and that part of that life suffers. And at the end of the day, and if this continues, you become angry, resentful in some ways, but overall just not happy. Happy with yourself and the position you're in and the things that's going in your life. So it does, have great impact, putting that caregiver burnout in the back seat. Next slide. So I want you guys to think about this question is what are some of those challenges of caregiving for a loved one? Challenges that you've experienced in your personal here and now, in the environment, in the surrounding that you're in. What are some of those challenges?
I think there's just never enough time to do it all. And caregivers often put like a lot of pressure on themselves, especially if we also are trying to manage like full-time jobs or raising children. In addition to caregiving, it's just like that feeling of being spread so thin, um, and just feeling like you don't have enough resources to be able to make it all work.
Yes. What
Yeah,
else?
I'll agree with Rachel 100%, and I will add, at least in my own situation, as well as the other caregivers that I work with, there's a sense of suddenly your life no longer kind of exists, right? Your life suddenly has become the back burner, right? And there is a sense of living a life of obligation, whether you signed up for it or not from the start, and it really builds resentment. It's something that not only builds resentment, but then you feel this shame for even feeling the resentment. So I think there's a lot of challenges with the emotions of I should be able to do this. I should do it. I should be feeling all sorts of love for this, and yet you're not. And there's a tendency to be shamed because of that.
And I
Yes.
and I'd like to echo, I think some of the challenges may be also losing who you are as a person because your caregiver role became who you are and you're no longer who maybe you used to be. And I think that could be really challenging for caregivers as well.
Yes. We see the tangible challenges on day to day, financial, having to call to doctors, waiting for a call, being on a call for 30, 40 an hour, right? But making it more of yourself. What am I challenged with in my own life? Like all of you have said, it's that feeling of loss of who I am as an identity. I had a good job, and here I am. My role has changed, and then also the day-to-day challenge of not having that energy. No motivation, just no interest. Again, being not happy also, putting that burnout in the back seat and not address it or acknowledge it or even coming forefront and talking to someone about it, right? So we're going to continue with all those different symptoms, but also the challenges and what can we do with that. Next slide, please. So, first, we want to define what is a caregiver burnout, and it's here we have three different definitions, but you all can have your own definition of these are the things that, in addition to these three, I also have some other, definitions of what I go through on daily basis. But mostly the most important part is that the mental, emotional, physical exhaustion comes with caregiving. It's not something that you check in at 9 o'clock and check out at 5, but it's ongoing 24/7, no holidays, no weekends. There's no vacation. So it's really puts this heavy weight on that individual who's caring for their loved ones emotionally, physically, mentally. In addition to that, because there is that emotional, mental, physical exhaustion, comes this fatigue. Again, no energy, no motivation. And then if I feel this strain on top of a financial impact, having to do tests and order some labs or getting, durable medical equipment that the insurance might not cover, that also adds on this physical financial strain. And for those my clients, some of them did quit their job, have become a 24/7 caregiver, and then they also have their financial impact on themselves. They've lost not only that identity, but of that looking forward to this income that she had. Now that's gone. So this also goes into that emotional, mental exhaustion, having uncertainty and feeling pretty much um, not assured, right? And then caregivers have increased risk of developing depression and anxiety. Again, it's not something that you check in and check out. It's just ongoing. You don't see when this is going to end. You don't foresee. In addition to when your care recipient is declining cognitively and physically, that also adds in this feeling of what am I doing that's not right? What can I do more? And that more can mean, more burnout and feeling like there's no into uh, trying to problem solve this issue, right? Next slide. So here are some common symptoms of a lot of caregivers go through as they feel burnout. This is not all inclusive, but there may be more depending on what you're experiencing. But the very common is again lack of energy, no motivation and interest, irritability leading to feeling anger, and then extreme frustration, again, the declining of, not only your care recipient, but because of your lack of energy and motivation in your depression, also brings this anxiety about your own future. Where would I be if this person's not here? How can I identify and become me, that who I was before I was a caregiver? So that creates a lot of anxiety, right? And then also difficulty to sleep, not only falling asleep, but being woken up middle of the night. I have a lot of my clients, a lot of their care recipients take naps during the day. And for older adults, they do need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. But because they may be on medication or lack of their activity, they pretty much sit around or lay in bed and they doze off, and it's going to be very difficult for them to sleep straight 8 9 hours. So can you imagine for caregivers, it's just waking up every 30 minutes or an hour, and some people are very sensitive and tuned to every noise in the house. What is it, mom? Are you okay? And the mom's like, "Oh, I'm hungry," or "I want to get up and walk around." They don't have any, concept of that what time it is. They don't have that concept of what time it is, so they just go ahead and do whatever they want. And here, the caregiver just goes and takes her walk around the house or give her a snack. And here, that she doesn't have chance to go back to sleep. And if she does, she's gonna have a very difficult time falling back to sleep. So even when we sleep, I mean, I don't know how many people really sleep long time because they can as a caregiver, but if you take that 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep, you don't feel energized in the morning. You feel groggy. you feel like this is a repetitive thing that happens every single night and every day. So that's something that we need to maybe address as something that we can work on. And then also, withdrawing your enjoyable activities, not attending celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, going out for coffee with a friend, or missing out on religious activities. Why? Because not only are you stuck, but you don't have that energy and motivation to even get dressed up, right? So this also ends in that depression, which leads to lacking your physical, emotional needs. So it's very important. I can't stress enough as we continue on the slides to ask for help and seeking that professional help to address if you experience these symptoms, but it's ongoing and you've had it for several months. That's a really red flag that this person can really, benefit from seeking professional help. And then also not only neglecting your own physical emotional needs, but your, physical needs take a back seat. Having more, illnesses, headaches, that anger outburst, or unexplained aches and pain. I had a client who had to take mom to the doctors and she could not do it anymore. It's just really difficult for her to get out of bed, get her dressed, and get into the car using a wheelchair where she cannot push herself because she has her own physical pain. And so we problem solve and finding out, can any of mom's doctors or medical staff bring their equipment and do the home visit? So when we try to problem solve that problem solve having her prepare her mom to go to that doctor's office, which was very, very physically, emotionally exhausted task. So those are some common symptoms of burnout. Do any of you have, other than what's listed here, to share that you experience?
I'll actually share because something, a memory came to me. So I was a primary caregiver for both a mom and a younger sister, both diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and I was in the middle. When I was I was a reporter at one time, and I just remember not wanting to go home. So you have this full-time job and nobody knows kind of what's going on at home, and you are, you're that performer, you're the do it all, you're the multitasker. So at work you kind of look like, the go to it girl, let's just say that. And then you go home and you have a whole nother job, a whole nother that you have no control over at all, really. And I remember not wanting to go home, and I was leaving the office, and I never went out with colleagues because I just didn't have time. Like you're saying, Tani, right? There's no time for a coffee, there's no time for that. And I was walking out and one of my colleagues came out and said, "Hey, I just kind of feel like going out and getting a drink. Do you wanna go get a drink?" And for maybe the first time I was like, "Heck yes, I want to go get a drink." So we went to go get a drink, and the ironic part of the story is as we're talking, all of a sudden I just kind of blurted out I didn't want to go home and that she kind of had saved me that night. And suddenly she blurted out, "Oh my God, I don't want to go home either. I'm having a similar situation." I just
Mm,
and I bring this up because often we stuff this down, right? I like to say, silence suffocates, and we keep it all inside, not even realizing there are a bunch of people around us who may be going through the very same thing, and by you sharing your story, not only does it help you but it
absolutely.
helps them. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted that memory came up, so thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Paulina, for your experience and sharing that. Yes, so normalizing that I'm not the only person. And next slide is going to show right into what Paulina was saying. So not only do we have these common symptoms that we experience, but there are some causes that causes caregiver, caregiver burnout. And one is that Paulina pointed out is the role transition. Here she works at the office as a professional, and then when she comes home, she's in a totally different role that she really didn't want to go home that night. And when she chose to have her own time to, spend time with her friends, it really made her identity feel, this is important to me too. But how many of us let that go and let that be in the back burner? Not only this time, but over the month, over the years. And it really brings out this feeling of feeling, those emotions of, again, um, upset, anger, resentment, and things like that. So here are some causes of caregiver burnout is that role transition. They may have um, been in a different role before they came into this caregiver role. You don't come with a manual how to be a good caregiver. So you tried your best, which also includes putting your own needs in the back burner. But we know over time, those needs to be addressed as you're caring for your loved ones as well. And so the role transition of, having a mother, being a mother or sister, or being a daughter, being a grandma, that sandwich generation tends us to have these different roles. But many times these role transitions can create chaotic, um, not having enough time in a day, not having to define, what is it important to me, because now it's all blurred. There's too many pieces that is on my plate, and I don't know how to manage these on day to day. Again, leading to feeling frustration, overwhelmed, and then to anger and so forth. And I'm just speaking from my own experience, but also from my current clients who bring these issues every single day, right? And then also there's that lack of control, unable to not only find resource out in the community. Then also Rachel mentioned about the financial cost of needing other things other than just, I thought caregiving is just being at home, but when you go to the doctors, they may say, oh, she may need this test, or she may need this lab, well, maybe she needs to be on this medication. So those are not, you didn't think of that, that wasn't in the plan, but they do come up. So what do? You forfeit your own needs and using those financial needs to manage and care for your loved ones. And then unreasonable demands. Not only, do you feel you have to be in control of it, but also sometimes you feel everything has to be perfect. I'm in this responsibility, I have this responsibility, and then sometimes it doesn't go the way you want. And maybe I tell my clients, maybe you need to bring down that expectation of yourself to your eye level. What is going on now? Don't expect this, because when you do that, and when you don't reach those expectations that you have set for yourself, you're actually disappointing yourself. So not having those demands is a one way to focus on what can I do today, and looking at that time management to have some control rather than lack of control also helps you to feel that uh, these stressors can be addressed, and that I can ask for help to relieve some of these emotional, physical demands that I have, right? Any other things you want to bring out? What are some of these causes of caregiver burnout?
I wanted to focus on that last piece about being concerned when their health declines, and I just took a call from a client the other day, and she said, "I'm sorry, I just can't do this right now. My mom landed in the hospital again because she fell, and she had like this sense of responsibility that somehow she did something wrong or didn't do enough to cause that." And so I feel like that comes up probably pretty often for a lot of people as they're seeing their loved one decline in health, whether it be through, just time or an accident or something that may have occurred.
And another thing, addition to what Mila said, was I have clients who will come very angrily. How dare do my sister tells me, why doesn't mother look right? What did you do? Why is she more sicker? Why is she losing her weight? You know, why aren't you not caring for that? So there's this blame that she gets from siblings, and there's this friction and there's this dissension between the siblings, because you know um, they are seeing it from outside. They're not dealing with it on day-to-day basis and see. I had a client who who had a sibling out of state, and so all he does, first of all, their relationship was not that good to begin with as a child. uh, the brother sibling lives out of state, and my client is a female. And so when he calls, he doesn't ask her, "How are you doing?" or even just validating, "I appreciate you for caring for mom." All he does is, "Let me talk to mom." Okay, here's mom. And so this happened to be her birthday, right? I guess a few days after her birthday. So he talks to mom. Now, remember, mom has dementia. Also, mom, did you celebrate your birthday? What birthday? There was no birthday. You mean so and so didn't even have a birthday cake for you? No. And so the brother on the other end, living far away in another state, gets all this information from mom and then comes back to my client. Well, mom said that you didn't celebrate and da, 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 and he was just angry, blaming, and all this. And she just stopped and said, "Why don't you ask me? I can give you that answer. Did you forget that mom can't remember?" And so he still didn't want to acknowledge that. And so for my client, that validation of thank you and just having that awareness of "I appreciate you" would be so much greater. And all those sibling rivalries could have just, been okay if he just acknowledged and said, "Thank you. I appreciate you." But that didn't happen. But those are some of the things that we as caregivers feel. And so then you feel like you need to do more than what you're already doing, right? Next slide. So, how do we do less by doing more, right? We feel that if we do more, we will do less. No, that's not true. You have to identify, to manage, um, how do I delegate these issues and these responsibilities that I have on day to day. And one of the things is importance of asking for help. So first of all, we don't have control because we don't know what the care recipient feels that day. If she's in a bad mood and she's doesn't remember and she doesn't want to use the bathroom, then that day is gonna be really bad. But importance of asking help, it helps us to know that not only am I experiencing it, but there's other people that has similar, responsibilities as well. So going through these, I hope you can kind of understand and maybe say, maybe I can ask for help. And how can I ask for help? And what are some steps that I can take, right? So once you decide to ask for help, it's to keep in mind, what are some specific things that you want to ask. So, for example, if you want to take, let's say you have to go to a friend's wedding and you know it's impossible. But this friend is really important to you, but you do want to attend that wedding. One of the things is be very specific: when, where, how, and whom. And that is planning ahead. I like to use the word operationalize. It's like when you get an item or you purchase something, there's a manual that you use. You have to actually know steps of using that particular item before you turn on the power. So if on that D day, before that D day, prepare. Who are you going to ask? How are you going to ask? What do they have to do? so that these questions that you have in mind is very specific so the person receiving at the other end is going to know. So I had a client who needed to go somewhere, and I said, he said, before my sisters and my brothers never helped. Why? Because their comment was, you live there. You don't have to pay rent. So you have to do all these things, right? So, okay, that's understandable. But he really needed to attend this function. And I said, okay, let's bring it down. Let's operationalize and plan month before. So we planned it out. He continued to remind them in the text and said, whether you guys gonna come or not, I'm just gonna go. One of you have to, step in. And so at the end of this problem solving and operationalizing, they knew exactly what they needed to do, what medication, when he sleeps, what are some things that you need to look out for, some of these things that you may not be aware, but that's what dad does. Just let him do it. So it became a very easy task for him to follow through that because he planned ahead what and how he was going to do that, right? And secondly, who are some people that you know that can provide that assistance? And some of my clients will say, I don't have anyone. And that's pretty common that I hear. But there are some resources out in the community, like USC Caregiver Resource Center, Orange County Caregiver Resource Center. Depends on what illness your care recipient have. Cancer, American Cancer Society has a lot of help. They have support groups, they have transportation, and then also Parkinson's Association, National Parkinson's has a lot of help. I know MS, some of my caregivers provide caregiving for MS. They have a lot of help to do that. So it's again, ask. If you don't have anyone, call 211. Call ask your doctor, ask your nurse. So know that there is help, and they may be free services that you may have not known. You might say, "Oh my gosh, that might cost money." Maybe it doesn't, you know. And our program provides those services as well, so you can reach out to our program as well. And then thirdly, what community organizations may have specific help that you need. Like I said, there are a lot of organizations that I mentioned, and just easy as Googling, how can I get help for this, or how can I get help for that? Um, and so it's about expanding your network, knowing that you're not alone. And that's why there are these community resources that is there for you to utilize. Any other things that you guys used or that was helpful to you in asking for help?
Everything down. Just thinking about caregiving and thinking about what Paulina said about um, not feeling like she had any time to go to coffee or socialize or do anything with coworkers. It was just like back to the grind. Um, and I think a lot of caregivers feel very isolated in caregiving. It's kind of this all consuming, like you're the only one going through this, even if you know rationally that that's not true. It's easy to sort of feel that way. So I just like the fact that you broke it down. I think that helps people to feel that there is a solution. Start on that very basic level. Like, okay, well, what do I even need help with? Just to help people to kind of think through that. So,
Right, right.
And
And I
mm,
think,
also, Rachel, oh, sorry, Tiny, just to jump in here,
mhm.
you brought something up, the fact that, you know, I lived at home and I got that a lot. Well, you live at home, you're not paying rent, even though I was paying multiple bills out of my own pocket. But what what helped was actually detailing on a sheet of paper everything I did and putting a dollar amount to it if they had to actually hire somebody outside for it. That was kind of an
yeah.
eye opener,
Mm.
and it changed the game. So that was something that kind of helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I wanted to add on the importance of asking help is maybe you need to ask yourself, what else need do I help for myself? and that is breaking down your daily chores. Maybe you don't have to run 3 loads of laundry every day. Or maybe you don't have to cook meals every day, breaking it down. And again, Rachel said time management is so important for caregivers to take that break, not put it in the back burner, but here and now. And that also takes some skills in time management, even in your own environment, given that you do have someone with you 24/7, but there's ways to manage those and break it down. And that's going to be very helpful. Next slide. So, in asking help also requires for you to have good communication skills, right? I know some of my clients will say, I know I'm not going to talk to my brother because we end up in anger fight after we talk. So I'm not even going to bother. So they've already kind of given up, right? Well, don't give up because there's other ways that you can ask for help. And that is maybe looking at yourself and kind of having an awareness. Maybe I need some tools how to be and have a healthy communication. So I know it's very difficult to ask for help. And again, it could be a high tense conflict relationship with siblings and, even your spouse and, um, other, family members. But at the same time, having these healthy communications can help you. So first thing is bring up the conflict when everyone is calm and relaxed. So I say, just find them in a good mood. And then I also ask them to, talk a place out of that familiar a place where there's a lot of argument, right? So finding and bringing a time of that communication is when you feel in a good mood, when you feel calm and relaxed. And then just be, here and now, be honest. And in order to have that healthy communication, I can't stress enough importance of using I statements. Because when you start say you, they've already stopped listening to you. They put these defenses up and they put these walls up. Why? Because it's not just today. These bad communications have kind of, lapsed to where we are today. So learning to use the word I. So starting a conversation with I. And when that person talks, maybe just having that pause and say, oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really? Oh, I see. I didn't think of it that way. So when you're responding, not reacting, when you're responding in this very calm moment, they're going to want to listen. They want to hear you. So again, um, reaching out for help and having therapy when you feel you're burnout, those are some tools that you can expand in your toolbox, definitely. And then also validating other person's point of view. Like I said, oh, I didn't know that. Hmm, that's interesting. Oh, thank you for letting me know. So these are very safe statements that are responsive and not reactive, and then be willing to compromise. So, one of the things that we teach our caregivers is that sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone. We may have written a script for ourselves how it should be. Well, maybe it doesn't have to be all that black and white. Maybe I can step back and look at the whole picture and what can I let go to compromise and come to the middle ground. And if that person demands something, okay, then I can step away and I can do that. So rather than being very black and white, all or nothing thinking, it's very helpful when we have that understanding of, okay, I can work with that. Because you're not just thinking about today, but you're also thinking about ongoing, next week, next month. So these healthy communications will be very helpful. And if you really want to learn more, please reach out to a professional and they can expand those tools for you. Next slide. Letting go of guilt. So we already know that, a lot of people feel guilt. They're not doing enough. or feel that they have neglected their own family, neglected their own self care. And so, as caregivers, these are very common things that you um, go through. Um, but it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to say, I feel resentful. It's okay to say, I feel frustrated. And again, part of that is talking to someone, having to someone to talk to so you can share that so it doesn't get bottled up, right? And then setting boundaries can help you feel more in control of your situation, even when many things you feel are out of control. So, one of those boundaries is learning to communicate and advocating for your on your behalf by saying no. They may not like that answer at the moment, but they're not going to die from that answer. So know that learning to use that no, they'll walk away and it's okay. And once you practice it, it becomes so much easier, right? I had a client who says, oh, I have stuff for mom that she can use. And she just said, before she'll say, okay, just bring it over. And all those months that he brought things over, it just got piled. And now it's just so much that she's just feeling angry. So during our therapy, she brought this up. And I said, how would you go about it? And she said, I just told him I don't want it. Don't even put it at the front of our door. Take it to Goodwill because if you bring it, I will not have it. And he took it. He didn't come over. He didn't bring it. And she said, Tony, that was so easy. I thought he's gonna get angry and she needs this. But he just took it as no and he moved on. And you moved on. And it was so easy. So practice definitely makes it better, right? And then communicating when you need to take a break, asking for help. Hey, I have caregivers that has children, that adult children. She'll just ask, hey, can you watch grandma for 10 minutes? I'm just gonna step outside. And maybe just taking a walk around the block, right? Or just, hey, let me make this call. Can you just watch her while I do that? So just communicating and asking that you need that break is very important. I have clients who have, don't eat all day. They don't feel hungry. Why? Because they don't have that energy or wanting to eat. They lost that interest to eat because caregiving is so overwhelming. And then when they do have session with me, it's like 2:30, and oh, Tanya, I'm just taking a quick bite. Oh, is that your snack? Oh no, this is my first meal of the day. So taking that break is very, very important because if you're not happy, they're not gonna be happy. So just remind yourself that you just need to let go of that. You don't have to do everything at one time, right? And then walking away when someone is treating you unfairly. So I have this lot of clients that come in talking to their siblings about difficult things and they just get angry and she'll just say, okay, maybe I'll call you back. Okay, let me think about it and then hang up because listening to that just creates more anxiety, more anger, resentful feelings. So, um, finding yourself when you're relaxed, calm to talk to someone is going to be very helpful. And then also, it's going to bring out a good outcome rather than a negative outcome. Next slide. So, this power of pause comes from making small consistent changes in your routine every single day. Why? Because it's going to impact your mood, your emotions, your physical condition. I have a client who gets up in the morning. She now since being in therapy, she made herself to get up 30 minutes earlier than rest of the family. So what she does is she gets up, opens the kitchen window, lights her favorite scent, has a coffee or tea, and she doesn't do anything but just get that time for herself. It's 30 minutes. She's not taking away an hour or a couple hours. It's not when mom's awake or her care recipient is awake, but just sitting in a very calm, focused moment Maybe she could have her music on, but it gets her ready for that day. That pause taking away is so powerful because it's going to impact how you feel, right? And then also using your positive coping skills. Taking that pause to just call your friend, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I just want to take a break and just talk to you. And, laughing in that 5-minute conversation kind of uplifts your mood, right? Or just listening to your favorite music also um, turns that mood into something positive. And then also, attending that a family gathering or doing that hobby or taking, that moment of stepping away and closing your bedroom door and spending that time for yourself. If you have pets, talk to them. Just, cuddle with them for a few minutes. So those are a lot of other things. Does anybody else have that power of pause that you felt it was beneficial during the day in your hectic schedule?
I would say maybe exercising. I think people sometimes just getting your body moving, taking a walk, maybe doing some yoga. I think that could be very helpful.
I think also,
I like
oh yeah,
go
no,
ahead,
I was
Lou.
gonna say like that we teach a lot with our clients, even like the 5 minute like breathing. You don't realize how you're breathing or not breathing or how you know stiff or tight you are until you take that moment to really take a deep breath. And then that doesn't even take 5 minutes. It takes a couple minutes.
Yes. Yes,
So
absolutely. That using of knowing the grounding or that relaxation, deep breathing is going to be very, very helpful. Again, if you get into individual therapy, those can be tools that you can add to the toolbox you already have. You were going to say something, Paulina?
I was just going to say for me, you hit the nail on the head. Starting every morning, prioritizing me, that made a huge difference, even if it was 10, 15 minutes in the morning. And the other thing, I highly recommend people go outside, take your shoes off, and with your bare feet, touch the ground. There's something about it when you even talk about grounding. And I will tell you that talking to trees is great. They have great advice. They always make me feel better. So I those are some of the coping skills that I have used, definitely.
Yes. And I have some clients that have dogs, pets, and because they don't take those walks, to take that pause, their animals suffer too. So they made a intentional schedule on their daily walk with the pet. And I don't mean going around on a 5 mile K, but if just round the block twice. It does so much for you, not only getting the natural vitamin D from the sun, but the dog gets exercise, you get a fresh air, and it just kind of brings that focus and that calmness and the relaxation to go back into that house. It's very, very powerful, that power of pause. Very good. And then also, that power of pause, I wanted to include, making that list. What are some things that you used that was helpful that you forgot? Or even just if you're attending any support groups, get notes from other people. What are some things that they do that I might take away? Maybe I can practice that. Okay. Puzzles, doing puzzles, finding picture words, or doing Sudoku for 5 minutes really brings that here and now and clearing out all this frustration and this intense moment. Next slide. So, if you feel after listening to and hearing from us and through these slides that maybe I need to talk to a professional, this is a good way to talk to a trained professional that offers various interventions and to help you to. Not to put it in the back burner, how your self care is so important because when you're feeling burnout, it doesn't get better. It just gets worse. So please, please reach out. And then, providing that talk therapy for you to just vent. using someone as a soundboard is also helpful. It doesn't have to be a professional. Maybe it's your pastor or your priest, in that support group. I know some of my clients will say, Tony, I have a friends, and when we sit around, they don't want to hear about my caregiving, stress. They want to talk about here and now. So that's also important. So this is another outlet for you to seek someone who will listen, who will validate, who will provide you affirmations, and also to create some identifying your own identity back, right? And then also resources out there in the community, reaching out to Alzheimer's Association, Caregiver Resource Center, Cancer Society, Parkinson's, MS, local senior center, local community centers, just Googling. So much resources that is helpful. So I hope you take those in and really use it for your benefit. It's just, um, Googling, typing, or just calling your social worker. Even when you don't have time, talk to your nurse who cares for your mom. Ask for your palliative care people, hospice people, people that comes in your house, physical therapy, occupational therapists. They can give you those resources. So the more you expand your network of getting this help and support group, it's going to make your day so much easier and get that back burner up to the forefront and deal with it and help you to realize that, oh, there are these resources and that you're not alone. Next slide. So this mindfulness, reduced exercise, like Mila have said, is something that I use, and it's very simple. It's less than 5 minutes. And the part about this is that you can use it anywhere, anytime, in the convenience of your own bathroom, if you will, or even when you're taking a shower, or even when you're cooking in front of the stove, or giving your mom a bath or your care recipient their medications. It's something that you can use, and it's about, having that feeling of calmness and relaxation in your emotions, in your mental, in your physical being. And it's simple as five, four, three, two, one. And what this is counting yourself down from five, four, three, two, one, and then using that number from top to going down all the way to the one is something that you can use sitting down, laying down, standing up. And what you want to do is you want to start by taking that deep breath. So when you inhale, you want to inhale through your nose and hold it for a few seconds. And you might want to exhale through your mouth. And as you're doing that, think of that five things you can see. You can close your eyes, you can imagine, but just be aware of your surrounding. What do I see here now? I see the carpet. I see my dog. I see myself. I see the chair. There's no right or wrong answer, but just being here and now, focusing that moment. And then it goes down to four. What do you touch? Again, not forgetting to deep breathe. And then what do you touch? My own hand, my phone, my shoulder, my heart, the couch. And it goes down to the three, what do you hear? And then two, what do you smell? And then one, what do you taste? And so it's about being in the moment, here and now, so that you have some control of your surrounding. Having some control to find yourself grounded, to feel calmer and relaxed. And if you go and get up and go something else and do something else and you feel that tense moment again, use it again. There's no right or wrong moment of doing it. If you can't go through the five, four, three, two, one, just do that deep breathing and imagine those tense muscles kind of relaxing. and bringing that focus and calmness. What are some other things that you do to feel when you're tense to reduce stress? Any of you have other things that you use that has been helpful?
I do think cuddling with your pets is is primary in just kind of relaxing. It's kind of funny. My husband has always been the one in his former life where pets would gravitate toward him. Now that ever since we've been married for a long time, the pets we have always seem to gravitate to me, cats. And he was lamenting that. And the funny thing is, cats will gravitate allegedly more towards those who are experiencing anxiety and stress.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, they are my therapists,
Very good. And they don't talk back to you.
and they don't talk. Well, one of them. No, just kidding.
Anybody
I think
else?
sometimes too, just if you have the ability to maybe put in headphones and listen to a podcast, listen to music, just find that way to sort of be able to refocus your attention, even if you're going through the motions of caregiving. But just finding that way to kind of escape, even just for a few minutes, can be helpful.
Mhm. Mhm.
For me, it's laughter. Like I just need a good laugh sometimes. So whether that be watching a funny video really fast, just with TikTok, you can get things funny in like 30 seconds, or just calling that friend who you know is going to make you laugh or tell you something that yeah.
Right. So I think, a lot of us have those happy moments, happy memories. If at all you don't have and you're doing multitasking, I have clients on their headset, Tony, you can talk. I'm going to listen to you, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for mom. So they're multitasking. But in the moments when you want to take that pause, just take yourself to that happy place. What are some happy place you can bring back? Even though you can't be there, maybe camping, maybe nature, walking. So those things can be here and now. And again, when you're taking therapy or doing therapy, those are some of the other exercises that you can take to reduce your stress, guided imagery, all those things. So yeah. Um, so I hope some of us have learned some stuff, not only the definition of caregiver burnout, causes and symptoms, how to have healthy communications, but also asking for help. And then overall, you're not alone. There are so many resources. The more networking you have, the more greater you're going to feel and feel control, knowing that you have handle on these things. So, anything else? Again, um, this is the number that you can call if you feel you need to talk to someone. Um, reach out. I guess that's it. End of
Yeah,
the
thank
slides.
you. I know I've learned a lot, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is just to point out, this is the phone number for Independence at Home. Um, we are the program that is working with the USC Family Caregiver Resource Center. Tani is one of our wonderful therapists. Who we have 10 therapists on staff. We have services in English, Spanish, Korean, and Vietnamese. We are able to provide short term therapy all at no cost to the individual. So that's the number that this is. It's Monday through Friday, number 8 to 5 to reach a live human. You can leave a message and somebody will get back to you.
And also
Great.
for first off, with the partnership, Independence at Home has been great. Tani, you've been great. The Los Angeles Caregiver Resource Center, if you jump onto our website, you will find a number of free resources. You will find a number of caregiver support groups. You will find educational programs. You will find a number of events. But go ahead and tap into that. And if you need additional resources, fill in the intake forms and you will be connected with someone who can actually talk to you about your specific situation and how to get you the support that you need.
Hello, I'm Yvonne Kuo. I'm one of the family consultants with the LA Caregiver Resource Center at the USC Family Caregiver Support Center. And today I will be speaking with Jeannie regarding the power of the pause. So, Jeannie, would you like to introduce yourself and who you caregive for just briefly, just to get us an idea what your care situation is?
Yes, my name is Jeannie Erickson, and I am a primary family caregiver to my mom, who is now 95 on hospice. I've been with her since June of 2007 when she had her first stroke. She's had another stroke a year ago. And I also have a healthcare background. I was a CNA in a memory care facility. So I've been working with seniors for quite a while now, over 15 years.
Well, thank you, Jeannie. Um, Many of us have heard of caregiver burnout or caregiver fatigue. How would you define it, and have you experienced it, Jeannie?
Yes, I have. Caregiver burnout for me, you're fatigued, you're tired, you feel like it will never end. The list of responsibilities goes on, and you feel like you need a break. Um, because you do have to complete your job. So I have found some outlets that help me with the burnout, and I think I go in and out of it. I don't think I'm in a constant state of burnout, but I think the main thing would be fatigue,
Mhm.
wanting to rest more, wanting to have higher quality sleep, and needing a break. That's how I define it.
Okay, thank you. What do you think are some of the day-to-day stresses in family caregiving that can overwhelm us and bring about burnout?
The the number of responsibilities, the changes for me in my mom's status, how she's feeling, whether she's hydrating, whether she's eating enough. For her, there's a weight loss issue. And I would say, coupled with that, is of course all of the responsibilities you have for yourself, for your work schedule, paying bills, running the house, getting to the store, picking up prescriptions. So it's kind of a number of things that you're juggling that all need to be completed. So it's important to be able to prioritize, and then some things I think you just have to wait until tomorrow, or until you can actually get to them. You might perceive them as a priority, and they may not actually be a priority. So just being able
Mhm.
to successfully deal with what is on your plate for today.
It's a lot of juggling of time management, and prioritizing and reprioritizing.
Yes.
Um, what would be the signs or red flags for family caregivers that they should look for in themselves to be aware before it gets too bad?
I would say irritability, anger, frustration, short temper, of course, fatigue, um, just feeling like there's no time for yourself, you can't take a break, and feeling a sense of ongoing frustration, and also not having control really over the entire situation. It's dynamic and fluid, and I can't always make my mom do what I would like her to do or what her doctor would like her to do. So yeah, I would say a lot of it is emotional, but a certain percentage of it is going to be beyond my control. So I have to look at the situation and assess and just do the best I can in the situation that I have before me.
Mhm. It's a lot of for you to adjust and be flexible to the situation and who
Yes.
the person you're taking care of. Yes.
Yes.
Um, our theme this year is called The Power of the Pause. Do you think there are ways to put ourselves and our circumstances on pause before we get to burnout? What might some of those be? And are there ways that have worked for you?
So yes, I think it's critical for caregivers to have some time to make some time for themselves. They may not have time to pursue an actual hobby. For me, that is gardening, that is cooking. Getting outside in nature is very important. It's refreshing. Connecting with friends, even briefly over a cup of coffee, on the phone, just having some time for yourself, unplugging for a short amount of time so that you can kind of breathe and take a moment for yourself, kind of recharge and refresh yourself.
Mhm,
So there has to be some time where you just take for yourself. Maybe that's taking a walk with your dog, spending time with your pets, even just taking a walk by yourself. I think it's really important to get outside the environment, even if it's brief.
mhm. Yes. Mm. That's very insightful for me. As far as unplugging, is it unplugging from technology or unplugging just from your surrounding, your environment?
I would say it's my environment. I don't use a great deal of technology. I use a little bit, but I would say it's definitely unplugging specifically from the caregiving environment, the responsibilities, everything that is needing to be done and that must be done. So it's taking a break and stepping back from that role specifically.
Mhm. Taking that pause. Yes.
Yes.
Family caregivers do so much, and it seems so hard to give ourselves permission to say no to things or to ask for help. Why do you think that is?
I think there's a perception, it's incorrect, that nobody can do it like you can do it. They don't know, uh, the family member as well as you do. They don't understand the situation. But in fact, I have learned when I've asked for help that my mom responds really well to other people. It gives her a break from always being around me and listening to me and me telling her, what she should do according to her doctor or her nurse. So I think it is important for us to recognize this is going to be a different person, a different approach. But I have always found that my mom responds really well to other people. She is happy to spend time with other people. And of course, that gives me a break. So we do need to take a break, bring other people in, ask for help, appreciate the help that is available, and definitely make that a part of our journey, allowing other people to be with our loved one. We don't have to do it all the time. We shouldn't,
Mhm.
really.
Okay, thank you. We hear about work-life balance, but for family caregivers, those work-life boundaries can be blurred. How might we start getting back some of the balance between living our lives and living our lives for for our family members who need us?
Wow, that's a great question. So I work part time. I, I think it's important to have a separate identity and time away from your loved one, to have a sense of accomplishment, to have an entirely different role that you have to play, and responsibilities that will make you feel good. Um, but it's difficult because your loved one needs a great deal of your time and your energy. Um, so I think the thing is to try to strike a balance, but I think it would be very difficult to work full time and then also be, for myself, I'm a live in caregiver. So I think that would be very difficult. But I would encourage people to work outside the home if they can, if their situation allows for that. Um, but it does make for a bit of a long day, because then you come home and you take care of your family members. So that is a great challenge, and I think it's hard to achieve because you have to be available to your loved one, and yet I think you need an opportunity to be outside the situation and achieve and accomplish and do things for yourself. I think that allows you to kind of um, feel good about yourself and have an identity beyond the caregiving role.
Mhm. Yes, the self identity. Sometimes as caregivers, you become just the family caregiver, and
Mhm.
having that outside, having that part of you gives you more of a well-rounded, I would say, understanding about who you are. Yes.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Mm, yes. And as caregiving proceeds, you find changes within yourself too. So you learn more about yourself and mature, hopefully, with
Yes.
your care situation. And in closing, Jeannie, if you had any last bits of advice or something you'd like viewers to take away from our conversation today, what might that be?
Oh, as a family caregiver, make sure that you have some time for yourself. Make sure that you don't become so absorbed and involved in the role that you lose yourself and you just are constantly caregiving, because you'll end up in burnout. So for me, that's gardening, being in nature. Make sure you're connecting outside of your caregiving situation with friends, or you have some outlet or outlets that are re-energizing you and giving you an opportunity to then return to your caregiving role, with some sense of refreshment. But make sure that you have some time away for yourself, even if it's brief, just so that you're not completely absorbed in that role, because that will certainly lead to burnout.
Mhm. Yes, thank you very much, Jeannie, for our conversation, your time today, and thank you for being there for us. And that's all we have today. I hope that uh, we do understand that there is a need for a pause in caregiving every so often.
This year's kickoff has been short and sweet as we give ourselves permission to pause a bit. It's also been full of great information on how to stop putting yourself on that back burner and still do what's needed in your family caregiver role. I hope you learned lots and put it to use. Now, while we're through for today, I do want you to know that we have more planned for you in the coming weeks. On November 4, this coming Saturday, we have our first ever drive-through celebration for family caregivers. Now, reservations are required. We've been sold out for a while, but we may be opening tickets up on a last-minute basis if they become available. So jump on over to the Eventbrite page. You'll see the URL on the screen and go ahead and add yourself to the wait list. Hopefully, we'll see you there. Also on November 6th at 6 p.m., we'll be broadcasting live all in Spanish with another look at our Putting Burnout on the Back Burner presentation. And on November 15, Wednesday at 10 a.m., you are going to love the online presentation called Caregiver Chronicles, Lived Experiences and Life Edits. It's going to be an engaging 75 minutes that shows how the pause is so powerful that it can give you a new perspective on the old stories and whatever your circumstances might be. You'll hear from acclaimed journalists and caregivers and experts from the National Center on Elder Abuse at the Keck School of Medicine at USC, as well as your Family Caregiver Support Center team. We've got that and more for you to tap into. Check it all out on our website. You'll also see that URL on the screen. Know that we're here at the Los Angeles Caregiver Resource Center, here for you. If you're already part of our programs, you know that there's nothing you can't ask us for help on. Legal aid, financial aid, respite, support groups, and more. If you're new to us and you are a family caregiver, we hope you'll check out all that we offer by taking a tour of our website. And if you need more one-on-one support, call us at 800-540-4442, the number you also see on the screen. And if you want, go to our website and fill out the form wherever you see the Care Nav button. You'll answer a few questions and you'll get connected to discuss with a consultant the support available that's tailored to you and your needs. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again and to helping support you with whatever your caregiver needs are. I'm Paulina Milana, Community Engagement for USC's Family Caregiver Support Center. I wish you all well.